everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today, on this day, I have the pleasure of sitting down with a gentleman by the name of Chike Uzoka. He is a financial advisor, fondly known as the team's money guy, and I am looking forward to spending time with him today and learning how he's teaching our younger generation how to build generational wealth. Much needed. But first and foremost, as I always do, sir, I take a quick moment to pause, say thank you to you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once you give it, you cannot get it back. So I truly appreciate you setting aside some time in your day to sit down and chat with me. And with that, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Lana. I appreciate this. And that message was not random. And I'm excited. This is something I love talking about. I just love talking in general, but this is something I really love talking about, making sure our young people have the tools that they need to succeed at this money game. And so, yeah, let's talk about it.
Awesome. Now, we're going to talk about the young folks and money. But first and foremost, before we get started, I have a question. My assumption is that as you're talking to teens about money, it's actually their parents that are bringing them to you to these meetings and these lessons and dropping them off, which makes me wonder, these parents are in the house with kids and they're paying the rent or the mortgage, they're buying groceries, they're getting the money together for basketball, they're paying the lights and the utilities. Why are we still, as adults, in your experience, still struggling, trying to just show kids the basics? Like, this is how much money we spend for groceries. Adults still seem to be uncomfortable talking money with kids. In your experience, why is that?
I believe it's a couple things. I believe part of it is just habitual, right? And so my parents never taught them speaking. My parents never talked to me about money, so I'll never talk about it, right? Part of it is, I believe, pride. Unfortunately, a lot of parents are letting the pride of them not allowing their children to see them in a vulnerable space. Like, oh, I don't want my son to see that we don't have enough to get him the thing that he wants. I think that's that pride thing.
Okay.
And then I think it's just conditioning. We have so much internal and external conditioning. And I think part of that is us saying, you're a child, stay in a child's place. This is adult stuff. Go over there and be seen and not heard. And, I believe that there's nothing wrong with telling a child, no, they can't have it, or no, we ain't got it for that. And then explaining to them, hey, well, this is the mortgage, this is the rent, this is the car note, this is the college, this is the groceries, because you and your sister eat a lot. And this is why we don't have enough. Yeah. And this is why you can't have it. Not that we don't want you to have it, it's that what you want is half of what we have left for the month. So if we do give it to you, then what are we going to do as a family? The interesting thing about the conversations of money in the house is that when you do have them, you're now giving your child, your teenager, an opportunity. Well, Mom, is there anything I can do now?
Yes.
Is there something I can do to bring in money? Even if it's $60, let me help pay for the lights that I always keep on. Something. Yeah. Let me help. But if it's just, no, we don't got it, and no, you don't need an explanation, go over there, then we're going to keep perpetuating that, the conditioning behind, kids shouldn't know about what's going on with money in the household.
True.
And that's not getting us anywhere.
Not at all, because so many of our kids, they leave the house at 18, or if they do leave that, and they don't even know how to balance their bank accounts or to save or something. So I think we're doing a great disservice. And it's just something, like you said, it's continual, generation after generation after generation. We're struggling to have these money conversations with our younger generation. So it's just all, I was thinking, okay, well, we've got the parents saying, okay, we're going to drop them off with him, so we know there's an issue with money, so, but we're still not having the conversation. So I found it interesting.
And then part of it is they don't know. And so I can't talk to my kid about what I don't know about. So
True.
Sometimes they'll come from a workshop or a program I'm teaching or speaking at them, and they'll be super excited, and they'll be like, "Mom, I learned today about da 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 this and that and mutual funds." They're like, "What's a mutual
Gotcha.
fund? What? A what is that? I don't know nothing about that, so I can't." So now the kid is like, "Dang, who am I going to talk to about it?" Because the
Yeah.
parents don't really know, or whatever. So I think that's the part of it too.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get into the young folks here, because that's what we're here for today. My first question I want to ask, well, my second question, I guess I want to say, is one of the things that the younger generation is really impacted by, influenced by, is social media. It's just kind of everywhere. Although I did read a couple articles recently that the younger generation is trying to kick the social media habit and deleting apps and going back to the dumb phones, the flip phones and stuff. But anyways, social media is prevalent, and especially when it comes to our culture, it seems like social media tells our kids that they can either make money with sports, music, or possibly an influencer or something like that. Uh, and most of the time, those income streams are not always sustainable long term or whatever. What other options do you kind of direct the young folks and say, hey, this is something that you can do and it's long term that can carry you for the rest of your life? What other revenue streams? Because all teens see are quick, fast, in a hurry, stuff like that. So, what other avenues are out there for them?
Yeah, so I was just doing a workshop the other day with a group called Leaders for Life, and shouts to Alton White. And the young man asked me, "What's the fastest way I can make some?" I said, "You got $5?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Go buy a pack of water and go sell them for $2 each. You'll make $50. That's a 45. No, you don't have to sign a W-9. You don't have to check in with nobody. You don't have to clock in. You don't have to ask anybody for permission. Go buy a pack of water and go sell them." So now, is that a long-term solution? I don't know. But he asked, "What's the fastest way I can make money?" I said, "You can make $45 in 30 minutes after we're done."
Gotcha.
So there is the quick, fast money mindset, and that's microwave generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have created a society of kids who don't have to walk to the library and speak to a librarian and go up and get a call number and search for a book. Right? We've created a generation of kids who don't have to wait for a VCR to rewind to watch a movie again.
Yes.
So the patience that we wish these kids had, what society have we created for them to actually have patience?
True.
If they don't want to walk to school, they can call a Lyft. They miss the school bus, they don't have to walk, call Lyft, call an Uber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think part of it is we have to understand what world these kids are growing up in. It's not the same world. We actually had to wait weeks to hear back from someone.
Yes.
Sending a letter. Now they could just text it, and so that's the first thing. And so there are these opportunities also with the new technology that they can create a mobile app on their phone for free.
Okay.
And still make money from it, from free ads.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So there are kids that are creating apps on their phone, their smartphone. They're using them for creation and not just consumption.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense, right? They're realizing that, oh, I'm using these apps, but I could do the same thing. I could create an app myself. Gotcha. And then, with older teenagers, 18 and up, I'm talking to them about non-traditional careers. For example, real estate. Hey, have you passed an exam before? Can you pass an exam again? Because that's all you pretty much need to do to become a real estate agent. If you sell a couple homes a year in the right neighborhood, you can make it pretty good financially. Or a career in sales and insurance and investments where you got to pass some exams. And so I share that because those are things where it's a job. However, it's a sales job. So in a way, they're controlling their own paycheck, but it's not a typical 9 to 5 where they feel like, oh, I have to sit here at McDonald's and with these fries and burgers. And then the flip side to that is with this new technology and self-checkout lines and things like that. Our kids' first jobs are slowly going away. Like
Yes.
my first job was pushing carts at a
Yeah.
shop in New
Okay.
Jersey, and I had the ability to make money at a young age without
Hmm.
having to ask my parents. I, I already knew the answer to that. So that's another thing that our society is creating with this new technology. Yeah,
Yes.
they have the access to create things. At the same time, the typical job, most of them are slowly dying away because of the technology they keep creating. So they have a lot of options. However, if they're not exposed and educated to those options, then they
Yeah.
don't know they have. And there's kids in the hood, kids in the suburbs that if they got an internet connection and all of them, they have kind of the same opportunity. It's just what are
Yeah.
they hearing? What are they listening to? Who are they around? Um,
Gotcha.
I think that's a big thing. So they have options, but they just have to be educated about their options.
Okay, okay, good points. Now you mentioned two things I want to kind of tie together. You mentioned that this, we are living in this world where consumerism is constantly pushed on us as adults and young people everywhere, buy. And then you mentioned this microwave concept where we want everything fast, fast, fast. And it all boils down to learning this trait of delayed gratification, and it's I think it's a lot of pressure on young people, especially when you're surrounded by peers, because everybody's got the latest phone, everybody's got the latest
Mm-hmm.
gear. And I think when it comes to building financial wealth, you have to embrace this concept of delayed gratification, even when it comes to if you're going to build an app, because it's going to take a while for you to get a few people to buy into it, and young people are like, oh, forget it, I'm going to, forget it. How do you how do you start to impart in these kids, hold on, slow your roll, it's gonna be all right, because they just
Yeah. They got to see the end goal,
okay.
because they see the end goal of a Tyler Perry, right? They see him doing his creative stuff. They see the end result of uh Kobe Bryant. They see the end result of that. So they see the end result of a Jay-Z who is now,
Hmm.
so they're seeing the end result of the few things that they told us we could only do to get out the hood, right? Rap,
Hmm.
play ball, sell crack. They know most of the times the end result of the third option is dead or in jail. However, if I rap, if I'm good enough, I could be a Biggie or I could be a
Hmm.
Jay-Z. If I ball good enough, I could be a Kobe or a Michael. And so showing them the end result of, for me, I show them what $100 a month can do at a 9% interest rate over 50.
Okay.
And they're looking at this number like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's legal money. Yeah. And it's lazy money too. All you gotta do is put the 100 in there. You ain't gotta do nothing else. You ain't
Gotcha.
gotta watch it. You ain't gotta just put the 100 in every month and give it 50 years and you'll be a million. And so
Okay.
when I talk to them in real life, like, look, and I show them what compound interest looks like. So
Hmm.
yeah, in the beginning you're putting in 100, your interest is $12. That's not sexy at all. However, if you give it time, the interest is going to beat out the 100, and eventually the interest well surpasses the money you're putting in
Hmm.
if you give it time to build up. And
Okay.
so I do believe that if our young people see an end result that is appealing to them, they will enable their delayed gratification switch.
Okay. Okay.
However, they don't see this this 2 + 2 = 4 ain't getting me out the hood. This A squared plus, listen, I'm 40. I don't know the last time I got out of an adult situation using A squared plus B squared equals C6.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but I was tested on it.
Yes. Yes.
It was
And
on
could.
multiple tests I took in school, but yet in the last 25 years, I've never used A squared plus B. I'm not an architect. I'm not an engineer. I'm not in those
Yes.
fields. However, so them in school right now, they don't see an appealing end result to going to class and learning a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and then getting tested on everything. They don't see that. So if we're not making the end result appealing enough to them, why would they delay their gratification?
Yeah, true. Well, let me build on this for a second, because you've mentioned, some of our kids are not in the most favorable of circumstances. They're coming from communities, environments, urban communities, lower incomes, possibly public housing, maybe single parents, social services and stuff like that. So let's say you have a situation where one of the community leaders comes to you and says, we're going to sit you down with our kids for about 3 or 4 weeks. And some of them are living that street life. And sir, they've got some income stashed away that you can't really ask any questions about, but they've got some income. Okay. And they want to have you show them how to transition and make life better for them. They're thinking long term, but they don't want to live this life forever. They want to get out the hood. And they do have some money. Don't ask them where it came from. How do you start to walk them through getting out the hood and establishing a firm footing for their families that they're going to build down the line?
Ultimately, their why has to be super, super strong, because some of them, just getting out the hood is not enough. It's, I need to get out the hood. I need to get my mom out the hood. I need to get my sister out the hood. I need to have a home we can live in. I need to have a car so mom ain't got to wait for 3 buses to go to work anymore. So sometimes it's even more than that. So really, I got to know what's going on in their brain. What's going on up there? So I start every program, workshop, seminar, speaking engagement. Give me some questions.
Gotcha.
Because I know what I want to talk about. If what I want to talk about isn't what you care about, we just wasting time, right? So what is it that you care about? What is it that you want to know? How can I help understand some facet of money? Now, if they say, yo, I got this cash, I'm trying to, well, the only way to transition it is to put it in something legal. So you got a few options there. You got mutual funds, you got, life insurance, you got annuity, you got all these different things that you could put money into that, they'll ask, are you working? And yeah, I'm working, but they don't necessarily check. I'm employed. Okay, you're employed. Oh, cool. Like, it's not, they don't, like, no mutual fund app is gonna ask for your job phone number.
I need a background check and all of that stuff, right?
Right. They're gonna ask where you're working, if you're working, but that's about it. That's where it stops, right? And so the best way in that situation to transition, put in something legal that has multiple benefits to it. And one of the things I tell young people is, you're gonna need insurance at some point in your life. You might as well get it now, because you're never gonna be as young as you are today. And there are certain policies that they can, qualify for at their young age that over time builds up that compound interest. And it's something that they can utilize to buy a home, to start a business, to go to school, to retire themselves. It's their money. They don't have to they don't have to say where the money's going. You say, it's my cash out, give it to me. It's there. So I do explain to them what the different options are in terms of where they can put their money and what happens to their money when they put it there. But ultimately, the why has to be important. The why has to be vital, and has to be something they're willing to stop this and start this.
Yes, because once, if all I know is that, sometimes I guess it would be hard to put that down.
Yeah, because it's easy to tell a kid to stop doing this, but then you don't give them another option. So, okay, cool. What you want me to do then?
Seems viable too, as well. You can't tell me to stop, do this to go flip some burgers. You gotta make it balance some sort of way. So.
Right. If I'm making $100 a day over here, you want me to go make $100 in a week after 40 hours? I'm gonna challenge you on that. Why would I do that?
Yeah, make it make sense.
It's great. Working with a team and learning how to be punctual and learning how to work in it, under a good boss or a bad boss, and I mean, but then you say, yeah, you got to pay taxes. What? I got to pay to the government for what?
Mhm.
So that's why would
Yeah.
I give my money to the government? This money, the government ain't getting none of this money. So
Yes.
why would I go over here when they tracking their money now? And
Yeah.
it's a lot less of it.
Thank
So
you.
it the why has to be, the why has to be, oh, you know what? I'm looking for something I can put on a resume.
Mhm.
Okay, well then you need to do that because you
Right.
can't put this on a resume, homie.
I'm a community servant. I
Yeah,
can.
I don't know what you call that. Customer service role. I
I don't
don't know,
know.
but you can't nobody call and check on your qualifications in
No,
that role.
not at
So
all. Not.
the why, it's their why. Their why is what we as adults could do a lot better job at pulling out of them. And each kid has a why, each kid has a spark. And once you find that spark, then we can expose them to more of that. So if a kid says, so sometimes we'll be like, oh, do you want to be an engineer? And the kid's like, no, I don't even know what an engineer is.
Yes.
But if you say, hey, do you like building things or
Yeah.
putting things together? Oh, I like that. Oh, maybe you should think about being an engineer. Oh, that's what that's called? Cool. Let me
Yes.
let me let me introduce you to an engineer that's black over
I
here,
got
right?
you.
That came from your neighborhood.
Hmm.
Because there's a doctor, there's an engineer, they always make it out of all these
Yeah.
neighborhoods. And so we need to first find out what each individual kid's thing is, right? What's
Mhm.
your thing? Your thing is not their thing.
Yes.
And we sometimes try to push our thing on them, and they're like, I don't want to do what you do. I don't want
That's
to
right.
do what my mom and dad did. I want to do something
That's right.
different.
That's right.
I want to. I see. It's like Rich Dad Poor Dad. In his story, my dad is a teacher, barely making it. His dad is owns half the island. Why
Mm.
would I want to do what my dad's doing?
I want the
Go pay
island.
all this go pay all this money for a bunch of pieces of paper and just to kind of barely make it versus
Mhm.
go learn how the real world works and
Yes.
and learn business and entrepreneurship and real estate and all that stuff and build faster with no degrees. Mm.
No brainer.
I mean it's a tough, when they see the other options, it's tough to tell them go work at McDonald's for $7.85 an hour. It's
Mhm.
tough. It's
Yeah.
tough.
It's tough. Well, McDonald's is paying $15 an hour now, so I don't know, maybe. But also in that, a lot of these jobs that like you and I had when we were at a young age, now we're seeing a lot of the older population taking these jobs. So even those,
That too. That
yeah,
too.
young
Yeah.
kids
Folks
are
that
not.
couldn't retire and now they're going back to work and they're taking those 15-hour jobs,
Yeah,
$15 an hour jobs from kids.
yeah.
So it's
There's
it's an
there's there's
interesting
pure
economy that we're
options.
in right now.
Yeah, it is. But you mentioned, and I want to circle back because you mentioned kind of imparting on the young folks to get life insurance. And young kids tend to think that they're invincible.
Yep.
How do you get a young
Yep.
person to really even envision, oh, let me get this life insurance policy?
I mean, honestly, it sounds crazy. At the same time, it's like you gotta remind them about the Trayvon Martin. You gotta remind them
Hmm.
about the Jordan Davis who was just
Mm,
playing music in a gas station. You gotta remind them about the young man just a couple days ago who was just going to get his
yeah,
brothers and his siblings, right?
yeah.
Nobody is invincible out here. Like,
Hmm.
and they know somebody that probably in the last month just passed away that's their age.
Yeah.
So it's like a gut check. Oh,
Hmm.
you think you're invincible? Let me pull up the news to see which teenager got shot last week.
Yeah.
Let me pull up. Go ahead, pull up the news and see. And what were they doing? Nothing.
Hmm.
They weren't even in the hood. They
Yeah.
weren't even selling nothing. They weren't even robbing nobody. They were just literally walking down the street, minding their business.
Yeah.
And I truly believe if every black person had a life insurance policy, they wouldn't be out here shooting us willy nilly.
Yeah.
Nah, they wouldn't. And then if they did, that's literally the fastest way to close the wealth gap is a life insurance death benefit.
Yeah.
So now they're killing us, but now on top of the lawsuit, now we got life insurance money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're able to take that and then, so I think that it's reminding them of really of who they are and where they live, right? And then not just where you live in the state or the city. You're in America.
Yes.
This country don't like us.
No, you
I
have to
I
accept that
I, I
reality.
don't I don't sugarcoat nothing for kids. I tell them they already know this, and
Mhm,
they don't even if they don't experience it themselves, they see it everywhere,
mhm, mhm.
right? They see the news, they hear the news. So it's like, yo, you're in a country that don't like you. You got to prepare yourself. You got to protect yourself,
Yes.
right? And the best way to impart your power on people is financially.
Yeah.
And then when you got money saved up and you got money coming in and you got money invested over here in these different buckets,
Hmm.
who's going to tell you? Nobody could tell you anything because you're financially sound.
Yeah.
You don't have to work if you don't want to. You don't have to take that job if you don't want to. If you have saved up and you're investing and things like that. So that's how I talk to them. Real talk. I'm like,
Yeah.
nobody likes y'all. I don't say it like that,
I mean,
but
and you know that because
it's
how many times have you had to donate to a GoFundMe or the fish fry because
for
somebody's
somebody.
family get
Yeah,
man, I mean,
yeah.
this is our reality. So, and it's strange to me because my grandparents, that was the big thing. You're going to buy a house and you're going to have your a little life insurance policy, so you weren't a burden to the family. But somewhere it just shifted in some of the generations where nobody's covered for anything now. But I can remember the life insurance man would come knock on the door and she get her
Mm-hmm.
little change out and give it to him for the policy or whatever. But
Mm-hmm. You know what? Um, it, I think a big part of the shift has been parents are younger
mm,
and grandparents are younger.
mhm.
So now there's like 30-year-old grandparents. And so the grandparent is still out here,
Having
we
hot girl summers,
outside.
having hot girl summers.
Yeah. And your kid is what, 15, 16
Mhm.
maybe, and now they have a kid. And so it keeps going. It's a perpetual cycle. And if we don't have the 50-year-old grandma who would sit us down and give us $1 to shut up and listen to her stories and that wisdom, we don't have that as much. And
Mhm.
so that's a challenge too. That's um and it's a lot of the external stuff. It's just more products being pushed, more as soon as you walk out the house, it's stimuli. Just
Mhm.
buy this, buy this. You don't have enough of that. You ain't got this. You ain't cool if you ain't got a PS8 or whatever
Yes.
number they're on. You ain't cool if you ain't got the latest Jordan. All you're and so it's that need to feel like, oh, I'm seen. I'm cool because I got these J's on, but then you go down the street, somebody robs you for the J's. Like,
Mhm.
so it's a lot of things that we are navigating as people, and all I can do on my part is make sure that these young people understand that if you're financially sound, nobody can tell you what to do.
That's right.
Nobody. And so I took wealth and I broke it into an acronym, and that's the 6 chapters of the book, The Team's Guide to Wealth. Is W stands for words of wisdom. So the W is the biblical scriptures to let young people know you're not supposed to be. That's not what God planned. Your abundance is your birthright,
That's right.
and the Bible talks about prosperity, money, wealth all the time,
Yes.
right? The E is for entrepreneurship and monetizing your God-given gifts. So we share the different ways you can be in business, but we also share the most lucrative business you can start is one that connects your passion to your gift to problem solve, right? And I challenge the young people, if you can find something that you love to do that you're also good at, that
Oh,
solves problems for people,
God.
money will knock at your door, chase you down, try to get in your pocket, right? The A is for all about building your financial habits, where they're actually revisioning a house and we're talking about the foundation being the strongest part of a house and the different floors and what those mean, right?
Okay.
The L is for life insurance and investment, where we talk about life insurance as a wealth builder, but also we share with them compound interest in the rule of 72, which we know they're not going to learn in school, even though it's a
Mhm.
mathematical formula, which which they need in real life, not the
Oh,
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And then the T is for tithing, volunteering, and sowing seeds, helping them understand how to, well, helping them understand that God gave us our talents, our time, our treasure.
yes,
And so when we give our time, our talents, and our treasure back to God and God's people, that's another way to build wealth.
yes.
And finally, the H is for home ownership and real estate. So I talked to them about, buying a 4 unit house and
Okay,
living in 1 unit and renting out the other 3 units, right?
okay,
And then I also share with them a career in real estate. So in life insurance and investments, we also share the career aspect of it. But in home ownership and real estate, chapter H, we show them how I'm at now, $500,000 house is a small house. There's
mm,
$900 million house, but I'm like, look, you sell a $500,000 house, that's $15,000 just on your side.
yes,
You're the listing agent and the buying agent. That's 30,000.
yes.
That will help you buy a multifamily. And so I'm sharing with them that the 4 ways to build wealth are life insurance, investments, entrepreneurship, and real estate, and how at a young age they can understand it and how they can start going to those things that they understand builds wealth
Okay.
and how they can do it with what they have.
So is it easy for the young folks to grasp compound interest and also? Because I mean, I'm
Yep.
imagining the adults will be like, huh, what'd he say?
No, it
Is that
is.
English?
We make it super easy because and I'm not dumbing it down. I'm saying the rule of 72. I'm saying compound interest.
Okay,
And in the parentheses, I'm saying AKA money on top of money.
okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's compound interest, but it's really just money on top of money.
Uh-huh.
So I'm using the real world terms, but then I'm putting the little AKA, the
Okay,
rule of 72, AKA how to figure out how to double your money faster, right?
okay.
So I'm sharing the words that they're gonna see in life anyway. I'm just sharing it where they get it, they can understand it, they can grasp it, and it's relatable, it's relevant to
Gotcha.
them. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned Rule of 72, and I saw you a clip of you on your website. So for the folks out in the audience who are not as astute as we should be, could you give us the
Yeah.
quick rundown of Rule of 72, please?
Rule of 72, y'all, is a mathematical formula that will tell you how to double your money at any interest rate. So if you were getting a 1% interest rate, you would divide 1 into 72, and that would give you 72 years.
Okay.
So at a 1% interest rate, it's going to take 72 years to double $1 to 2.
Okay.
At a 6% interest rate, it's going to take 12 years to double $1 to
Okay.
2.
Okay.
And at a 12% interest rate, it's going to take 6 years to
Okay.
double $1 to 2. And I use those numbers because going back to mutual funds, since 1924, for the last 100 years, mutual funds have returned between 9 to 12%. Some years it's higher, some years it's lower.
Okay.
However, if you were invested in mutual funds in 1924, right? God bless you, you're still
Okay.
alive. But also, uh, every 6 to 8 years for the last 100 years, your money has doubled.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I share that looking back to let them know that moving forward, you can be in that position,
Okay.
but you gotta have money in the game to actually win the game.
Okay, okay, got you. So
Yeah.
should parents, as you're trying to be more open and transparent in the house with the kids, do you open up the account for the kid and start to get them
I
funds
think
and
I
stocks and
think they
stuff?
should absolutely. I think they
Okay,
should absolutely. Yeah, and it's the same accounts that adults have options with kids. So it's just if they're under 18, it's just an account for minors, and the
okay,
parent is the owner of the account until the teenager becomes of age. But investment accounts, life insurance, Roth IRAs, all those things we can open for our kids as long as they have a name and a social security number. And most wealthy families, as soon as the kid is 1 or 2 years old, they're opening accounts for them. They're setting aside $50 a month for this, $50 a month for that,
mhm,
because they know now the kid has 18 years of compound interest,
okay,
And at a minimum, if they go to school, they have money for school. If they don't go to school, they have money to start a business. They have money to buy a house. Those kind of things. So yeah, it's never. I say it's never too early. If as soon as a kid starts saying "I want," it's time to talk about money.
Yeah. You're about to say, I'm always confused. And I have to admit, I'm coming from a different generation, but I walk around in today's world and I'm looking at people spend money on things like gender reveals. And I'm like, why are you spending so much money and the baby's not here? And that money could be going for college. It could be going for a down payment on the first house you get. But why?
Society, society. It's one word. Society.
Mhm.
Society makes people believe FOMO, fear of missing out. Right?
Mhm.
Society makes you believe that you have to find out the birth of your baby this way.
Mhm.
You have to get married and spend $35,000. Right? You have to. You have to. Because if you don't, you're not cool enough. Or somehow if you don't do a gender reveal on Instagram, you're not gonna have a baby. You know what I mean? It's and then society also says, oh, if you don't have a college degree by this age, you're
Mm.
not. If you don't buy a house by this age, you're not. Or if you don't get married by this age, you're not. If you don't have a kid by this age, you're not. And it's literally making people do dumb stuff. Like
Yes.
it's making people do dumb stuff just to try to keep up with society or keep up, try to keep up with the Joneses or the
Yeah.
Jacksons or the I don't say anybody else's name, but the try to keep up with the why.
Yes.
And we ain't gotta do that. We
Mm.
in our whole other lane. We spend the most amount of money in this world,
Yes.
yet we have the least amount of money saved. We have the least amount of money protected. We don't have wills. We don't have trust. We pass on the most amount of bills, right?
Yes.
We leave our families in like financial mess
Debt.
just because
We.
we trying to keep up with what the world thinks is hot and the trends of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's helping them understand you ain't got to do that.
Yeah.
No, I had on, and I don't know if my friends are gonna see this. There used to be this boots called Mountain Gear,
Uh-huh.
and they looked just like Timberlands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until you lifted up your jeans and you saw that it wasn't a tree, it was an MG on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I do? I just made sure my jeans never lifted up past the thing, right? And the Mountain Gears were $80. The Tims were like 150. Like I'm
Yes.
not. And I was working. I'm not paying 150 for the same. I'm going over here to Kmart, wherever it was. I'm getting the
Yes.
Mountain Gears. They do the
Thank you.
same. None of us were hiking in them anyway. So what? Come on now, let's talk about it. None of us were hiking in the Tims anyway. So why do you care that mine ain't got a tree limb on it?
Thank
Okay, I
you.
got $80 more in my pocket. Say something. You know what I mean? So it's that thing that, oh, you gotta have this to be cool. You gotta rock that to be cool. You gotta have this to be cool. No, I don't.
Mm-hmm. I'd
No, I
rather have
don't.
the money in my pocket, the money in my bank,
Right.
and
You could
less
have a
stress.
$5,000 wedding and use the other 30 to invest or save or put up for a house and get a multifamily and live in one unit. When your family
Yes.
gets too big, you move out, you rent out the whole thing. Let that
Yes.
4 unit pay for your single family house that you're gonna live in with your family. You,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So there's ways to not be forced to do things because of society.
Mm-hmm.
However, if we don't realize that we're being conditioned and that all this stuff is not helping us. Now, granted, if you're doing a gender reveal, you're doing a $30,000 wedding, and you already got a house, you already owning, you already got your life insurance down, you got your retirement set, you got wills and trust, then forget what we're talking about
Yeah.
because you're solid. But if your house is built on sand and you out here still partying and buying J's and do rags
Mm-hmm.
and jerseys, then you gotta and sometimes that adult stuff comes from when we were kids and we were always told we can't have it or we ain't got it. So now that I'm an adult and I have it, I'm gonna spend it because I never could. So it's that unhealthy relationship with money that a lot
Money.
of us have cultivated in part to the environment we grew up in, but then never really getting around the right people to talk about different
Got
stuff.
you. Got
You
you.
always hanging out with the same people, you're gonna keep talking about the same thing. And so
Yeah.
that's why they're doing the gender reveal and spending all this money on this and that, and without having a proper foundation in.
Yeah. Yeah. I was recently at one, and precious, precious baby. She was using food stamps to pay for the food for the gender reveal. And I was just like, baby,
Mm,
you think maybe we shouldn't, we're not in a
mm,
position to, but and I think that's a struggle too, sometimes as an elder with the younger generation, they don't want to hear sometimes what you got to say.
right,
And I'm
right.
like,
And
baby,
yep. And I don't even give my advice unless somebody asks anymore. Oh, you know what? Do you?
you want to pass
Do
on
you?
this generational stuckness and everything. You don't want to uplift your
Yeah,
generations.
yeah.
I mean, it boils down to how much do you love your offspring? How much do you love yourself? What do you want? What do you want? I mean, this can't be all that you want. So
Mhm.
yeah, so okay.
Then I mean, then the other part is the parent saying, I had to figure it out, let them figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Not being a parent, I know that I would want my future kids to have a leg up. So everything I know, I'm going to teach them.
Yes.
And hopefully they take what I know and go do more with it, because they'll have even more opportunities, more technology to be able to do stuff. So why would I go through life just figuring it out and going through hard times and then say, okay, let my kid figure it out too?
No,
Mm-mm.
that's
So
not
we got to
that's
do a better job at that.
we got to do a better job. I mean, and I'm just kind of at my wits end, because my grandparents really laid a foundation of, at least buy a house and, save a little bit of something. And then somewhere along the way, we just give it all away, just give it all away. And, I don't know. And now it just seems so difficult because, they're saying like the real estate market, it's very hard for, what is it? What is it after Gen Z? Is it Gen A? Is that what they're called? What's after? I think,
After Gen Z, oh, that's a good question.
yeah, but yeah, they're saying it's going to be just pretty much an unavailable option for them to buy a house, because it's just
Mm, I mean, I could see that. I could see that. But at the same time, people were buying houses when mortgage rates were 18%. Um, I think the only thing we have to navigate is the current. I mean, we can't call it that, but it's redlining. Right?
mm-hmm,
The only I think the thing we have to navigate is the fact that even if we have the money, a lender won't give us a loan in a certain neighborhood.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm,
we've got to navigate that, and if we can get through that, we're good. You know, but there's opportunities for us to do better. We just gotta get out of our own head and get out of our own way.
teach the next generation how to correct the mistakes that we made.
Yeah. So in Africa, they judge a society by how the children are doing. So when you say, "Hey,
As you
hi,
should.
Lana," how are the children doing?
As you
That's
should.
literally how you say hello to somebody. Hey, how are the children doing?
As you should.
And if the children are doing well, then that means the society. And we know our children aren't doing well. I just saw an email, believe it or not, that said, um, it said something crazy. It was like most most kids in Newark, New Jersey. I mean, wow, it's like the percentage rates of children in Newark, New Jersey that are at reading level at third grade. We're talking about single digits, 3%, 4%, 9%. That's not the kid's fault.
Mm-hmm.
That's not those kids' fault. It's
True.
the parents and the teachers that got to figure something
Yeah.
out, because it ain't the
Yes.
kid. They're in third grade. Come on.
Yes. Come
Like,
on.
let's get it together.
Mom and dad should notice, or whoever the caregiver should notice, like, Junior
Something.
can't read the
Something.
cereal box. I know he's got the cereal. He can't even
Yeah.
read the cereal box. Come on now.
And even before they go to school, you have what, 3, 4 years with your child before they're even in a school system. What are you doing? What are you
ABCs we're not
are you
doing.
preparing them? Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of things that we can do.
Yes.
And I'm a perpetual optimist. And so I'm like, We're gonna get it together. I
We're
might not
gonna
see it. I might not see it. We finna get it together
we're
though.
gonna get it.
It's just
We're
gonna
gonna get it.
take it's just gonna take double the amount of time to get out of it and it took us to get in.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's
we
like a
got.
bad credit score, just like bad grades. It's gonna take double the amount of time to get out of something than it took us to get in.
Oh yeah,
So
and we have so many people. You can just scroll through social media, and we have these Instagram financial gurus give, and you're like, oh, that's bad advice. Oh no, don't do that. Don't.
yeah, I stopped following them. I'm like, I create my videos based off the nonsense they say. I'm like, so you might have heard, but let's talk real talk. And it's different because I'm licensed. I'm a
Mm,
licensed financial advisor, not just out here talking. Right?
yes.
I actually passed exams and I'm governed by the states and the government. And so it's it, don't stop telling people that. That's not for everyone. Everyone's situation is different. So
Yes.
the only blanket advice I really give out is it's always better to start today than it is tomorrow, whatever it is.
Yes.
Right? That's the blanket advice. If whether it's insurance or investing, it's better to start today than it is tomorrow.
Okay.
Right? Other than that, I'm like, nah, everybody's different. Everybody doesn't need a retirement account. Everybody doesn't need a 401k. Everybody doesn't need a Roth. Everybody doesn't need a mutual fund. And I dare to say everybody doesn't need life insurance.
Hmm.
So it's a case by case basis.
True. True. Awesome. Well, okay. I like that. We ain't gonna see you back in the day and COVID hit. You weren't one of those ones telling everybody go get the PPP loan, right?
No, no, ma'am. I was doing everything from Zoom though. It was lovely. I was loving my new because right I closed on a property right after COVID hit. So I had a brand new office on the third floor. I was good. I was doing good.
I love
I
it.
had no issues.
I love it. Well, sir, let me ask you my random question, and then I'm going to ask you to tell us how we get the book. And do you
Yeah.
travel around to schools and stuff like
Yeah.
that to give? Yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
just came from Mississippi. I just came from Jersey and in Orlando and then so
Okay. And let me see here. What is the political? A lot of your work is in our community, right? For our
mostly,
kids.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep, 99% of it.
I got to be politically correct. Somebody might be
Mhm.
I identify as, or that sounds like this.
Ah,
You got to be like,
yeah, people crazy.
it's rough out here. It's rough out here. Okay. Ah, what is the most useful thing your mom or dad has taught you? We're gonna make sure they see this too afterwards.
If it's free, take three.
If it's
My
free.
dad, my dad. Well, I'll say frugality. Right. So my dad would go to ShopRite with like $50 worth of groceries, like $56 worth of coupons, and so the cashiers were always baffled. Like, hey, how do we owe you money? I just scanned a bunch of stuff here. How am I paying you? Like that was so like frugality, right? And we owned real estate in Jersey City, New Jersey. We didn't know that because we didn't see it, right? So yeah, I would say frugality.
Okay, all right. So he passed on some good stuff that you're passing on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pops. Thank you, Pops.
Hey,
All righty. So tell us how we pick up the book and how we get you around the country to talk to
yes,
our teens and stuff like that.
yes. So the Teen's Guide to Wealth, the number one resource for teaching teenagers how to build wealth at their age, can be found at www.teensguidetowealth.com. You can buy the book. You can buy I'm a Teen Building Wealth band,
Okay.
as well as I'm a Teen Building Wealth t-shirt. We are doing another cohort of our virtual Teens Guide to Wealth book club. So if there's teenagers around the country that I can't make it to, they could always jump on Zoom for the book club. The information is there on the website as well. My website is just simply www.chikeuzoka.com. And yeah, if you put Chike Uzoka in Google, I'm probably like the first 21 pages.
Probably
So
the only one, right? That's going to pop up.
nah, I'm not the only one, but I'm just the one that got the first 20 pages locked down. Okay, I got the first 20 something
There you
pages
go.
locked down
There
on
you
Google.
go.
So put Chike Uzoka in Google, put Teens Guide to Wealth in Google, and you'll find all of our stuff. Thank you again. This was an honor for having me. Thank you so much.
One more question. I got one more question before you.
Yeah.
So down the line in the future, will there be any classes teaching the parents how to talk to their kids about money?
Oh, yeah. So we are creating financial hubs around the country. So we're creating these hubs at schools, churches, right? And especially those buildings where people go to the county for like different benefits and things like that.
Okay.
So we're creating these financial hubs where there's always going to be a financial advisor there that can talk to the kids, the parents, as well as the staff of the school, the staff of the church. So any churches that are listening, any schools that are listening, any county centers that are listening, I would love to talk to them about creating a financial hub in their building. All we need is a room with a couple chairs. That's it. And we'll have some office hours. And the goal is eventually to be training someone in that place to be that financial advisor.
God, he is doing the work, planting seeds.
Planting seeds for the big harvest. Yeah.
Planting seeds for the big harvest. I love it. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Awesome. Well, sir, I thank you so much for your time. I love the work that you are doing. Can't do nothing without some money in our pockets. So, and wealth, we didn't get our 40 acres and a mule, but we're gonna have to get it some other kind of way. And your help.
Even if we did, what we gonna do with it? We're gonna throw gender reveal parties on the 40 acres, and no, but we
gonna put a little pink, a little blue on the donkey, right?
Yeah, even if we got reparations, if we're still not financially educated, it's gonna do more damage.
Yes.
So let's focus on the education piece.
Yes.
And so that when the money does come, we know what to do with it.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Truly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for,
I know we went over
being
30 minutes.
Yeah, thank you for being a servant. I truly appreciate you. And
you
I just love it. I just love it. So keep on
being
you.
You too. Thank you so much.
That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.